It's in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brother Chester, if you would come up and lead us in prayer. Are you up today, right?
Will you bow with me then? Heavenly Father, Lord, we bow before you today. We thank you, Lord, for the chain of prayer that you made possible for us so we can talk to you often. And this day, Lord, we just ask you to be with the councilmen and the people that runs our city. And we're so grateful for the leadership that we have and the Christian influence that we can have in our county and our city. We thank you, Lord, for your love that you have for us, your guidance that you give. And we just ask you to deal out the wisdom for these folks that make decisions today and the rest of the time. That we're just so grateful for that. Thank you for your help and your love, and we sure love you. In your precious and holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. While we're here, I'd like to mention, starting out, we did have a ceremony over at the new courthouse Thursday, National Day of Prayer, and I know Brother Chester worked long and hard on getting that together, and so it was a good day and a good meeting for everybody. So
Yeah, you told them what Miller stands for?
I'm not much on bragging on myself, so Chester came up with a saying, Mayor in Leitchfield loves every resident. So I told him I was glad that he had a mind to think of things like that, because my mind don't work that way. It's he got the gift of that, so I appreciate that, and we thank you again for what you do for the community.
Yes.
Okay, first item on the agenda is approval of regular meeting minutes from April 15th. If there are no questions or concerns about that, I will entertain a motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion that we approve the regular minutes from April the 15th.
Motion by Gina. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Next up is approval and ratification of bills. Again, if there aren't any questions or concerns about those, I'll entertain a motion to accept the bills as presented.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Billy, second by Clayton. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next up, we have visitors, Patrick Willis and Jamie Johnson, Farm, Home, and Realty and Auction, requesting a closed section of West Market Street for a weekly summer auction on Thursday evenings. So one of you gentlemen want to come up, if you would come up to the mic so we can get you, we'll try to get your good side when you come up.
I do have some graphs of where we want to close if you want to see it. It's about 60-foot strip.
Okay.
I may not have enough, you all may have to share it, I don't know.
Tootie and I can share if we need to.
Yeah, I know where you're talking about.
Yes.
Right there in front of their office.
Yeah, right straight across the street. Thanks, man. There you go, Harold.
Okay.
And basically just Thursday afternoons around 5:30 to about 8 o'clock. Just to do some auctions and maybe music one night a month,
So it's going to be every Thursday?
every Thursday.
During the summer months?
During
or-
the summer months only, yeah, May to September.
Okay.
So, and obviously weather would
Like-
negate any opportunities we would have, so.
Have you talked to your neighbors?
Not the folks in the apartments. Of course, Eddie Anderson owns across from the building, and Eddie's never there, so trying to buy that, but he don't want to sell it.
So really, the only thing would affect would be through traffic.
Yeah,
On West
bank can
Market.
come out, and we'll leave that in, so if a food truck wants to come over and park on the sidewalk, they could use that.
Okay.
And, like I said, it only affects 60 feet because you got cross streets going every direction, so nobody would be inhibited on traffic other
So
than straight through.
If you get a food truck, are you gonna set it in between these lines?
I don't know. Good question. Probably would set it where the public could come in, maybe from the pawn shop or the bank side, and that way people that's not visiting the auction could still utilize a food truck. But we could set them within those lines or even in our gravel parking lot if we needed.
What times are you looking at, Pat?
Sorry?
What times? I mean,
5:30 to about, we'd start at 6 and quit at 8. We wouldn't go late to keep anybody up or have any kind of noise issues.
Everything around you be closed anyway.
Yeah. So the apartments would be the only noise, and like I
apartments.
said, we would be quiet by 8 o'clock, so.
Would you guys set cones up there?
Yeah, we've got cones that we use on auction sites, so we could block both ends off.
Okay,
And,
so we wouldn't actually have to come out and do that?
no, you wouldn't
so-
have to bring anything
Okay.
down. We could throw some caution tape up just for visibility, so nobody accidentally runs through.
Yeah, okay.
Wesley, do you think we need a sign from us, said road closed?
I don't know. I mean, if you're still gonna be able to go and turn to the bank.
Yeah, they can turn up, toward Western Auto, and they can go back the other direction.
It's not a problem to get one. I mean, I've got a couple, some that we could let them use. They can just set up there if we need to, just street closed or whatever, but that won't be too much of an issue.
Will there be trash people being there, they eating and trash, people eating and stuff, throwing stuff down?
If they do,
Who
we'll
will
pick it up
police them?
if it's on the
Okay.
street, we'll pick it up.
Okay.
We won't leave anything.
Wait, no.
Hopefully, they're well-mannered.
Yeah, right. I hear you.
I'm just curious, what are you gonna auction?
Sorry.
What are you gonna auction? What is
We're
it?
just gonna do we've got some estates right now that we've built up stuff, and then we're gonna probably allow some consignment auctions, just kind of bringing some activity to that part. And we've got some food truck people that have been looking for opportunities to put their food trucks out, so we thought it kind of a win-win for everybody and bring a little business, because, that'll bring some out-of-town business into Leitchfield, might support the restaurants as well, so.
How about parking? I know the city.
They'll have to park in municipal street and whatever, there is that good municipal parking right there
Right.
next to us, so. And then, I'd say, the bank will be open during that time of night, they can use that, and quite a bit of city parking available.
Yeah.
You're probably looking at, 100 people or so that will show up on a good night.
I would talk to the bank.
Do what?
I would talk to the bank
Yeah,
to see if.
before you
see if
before
they
you
could-
invite
see
anybody
if
to
you
use your
could
parking
use
lot,
their
right?
parking lot,
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, we would obviously-
We have a couple places they'll put cones up and you won't be able to get in there, so.
I don't blame them if they don't want to, but there is plenty of public parking there, so.
Tyler, is there anything we need to change? Is there anything violating an ordinance or in planning and zoning?
No, I mean, the property's already commercial up there, and they're already registered auctioneers, so I'm sure they've got their state paperwork and permits, they need to do that
I can't
already,
hear him.
so.
He's just saying that you're already licensed as an auctioneer, you've got your permits and everything, there's nothing the city
Yeah.
would require.
Can I make a suggestion? If you're going to allow the street to be closed, if you let food trucks set up, will you make sure that they're licensed through the city? Because we have a food truck license. They should be
I
able
guess
to
we
show you a
can. I mean, we
license.
could- we could
Because, I mean,
set it
if they're
up before we book
closing the
them.
street down to try to got to make sure you have that license. That's just a suggestion.
Yeah, there's a $50 a year business license. if you
Gotcha.
do business in the
Obviously,
city,
we're
so-
not in the policing business, so
Well-
all I can do is ask. I can't enforce
food tax.
anything, but
Right.
Yeah,
Plus the restaurant tax.
yeah.
Yeah, because when we shut down for festivals, anybody who lets them set up, the vendors always check to see that they have their license before they allow them to set up at their festival or when we shut the streets down. I know that's part of the process, so I figured if they're shutting the street down, it might be kind of part of the process of just double checking to make sure they have their licenses and they're allowed
It'd
to set
probably
up
be
that
different
way.
if you all cooked hamburgers and hot dogs.
Yeah.
we'd be better.
I mean, I don't know if you got that.
We couldn't do that without a food service license,
that's
though,
what I'm
correct?
saying.
Yeah, we used to have that, but when we moved, we didn't have the facility for that, so.
We don't necessarily expect you to police it. If it's somebody that you realize is there that don't have one, you can let us know. We can make contact with them, but
Let them know that they
Yeah.
need to pick that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we can, like I said, when we're booking them, we can ask, and we hope to have the same one pretty regularly, so we're not having to chase different vendors around, but
David, do you think one of your guys could help us out with that?
Yeah, that's
I think you have before.
Yeah,
So-
that's not a problem.
Do you see a problem with this at all, David? I kind of think it's a good idea myself, but
Not the location, not how much they're using, the way they want to do it, I don't see a problem with it at all.
Now, the only caveat I'm thinking, and just thinking when David mentioned that, during the car show and the Fiddle Festival, I think they use that portion of the street some, that you might need to adjust
Do
on.
they come that far
was-
down, or do they stay right at?
Whole street.
What's the date on that, do you
From,
know?
or from,
It's the third, I think it's the 18th, 17th and 18th. It's the third Saturday in July, third Friday, Saturday of July.
20th. The 20th is the
Is
day
it?
of
Okay. I couldn't.
Saturday.
We will stick to or till Thursday
Thursdays.
afternoons unless we, come back and say we got a special event we want to put
Yeah.
on, so.
Friday night would be the special event there for us, for the
Gotcha, so
film festival.
we kind of thought Thursday probably wouldn't be much going on, so we wouldn't affect any of the city shows, so.
And that'll be, they have the motorcycles and everything in there
Yeah.
Thursday and Friday, or Friday and Saturday.
Friday and Saturday, yeah,
Yeah.
so.
So that would be the only thing I could think might be going in there, that if you
Gotcha.
were to want something, just
Yeah, it wouldn't.
try to work
wouldn't
that out
affect us
with
one
whoever.
bit.
Okay. All right, guys, you want
I make a motion that we
I second.
allow them to.
to, motion by Clayton, second by Billy, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Thank
There
you very
go,
much.
Patrick. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, next up on the agenda is second and final reading of amended ordinance on code enforcement office position. Erlene, do you want to
Yeah.
take that over?
Yes, I've got it. Whereas City of Leitchfield has a duty to enforce the codes established by ordinance, and whereas the establishment of positions to enforce said codes is in the best interest of the City of Leitchfield in order to promote health, safety, and welfare of its citizens, whereas it is desirable to establish the positions of code enforcement officers and the duties of said positions, now therefore be it ordained by the City of Leitchfield, Kentucky, that ordinance number 2021-19 enacted on the 15th day of November 2021 be amended as follows, with added portions being underlined and deleted portions being indicated by a line drawn through them and encompassed by brackets enclosing them. The employment positions of code enforcement officers are hereby established. Code enforcement officers are granted the authority to issue civil citations for violations of codes of the City of Leitchfield. At least one of the code enforcement officers shall attend each meeting of the Code Enforcement Board. Code enforcement officers shall investigate alleged code violations and perform tasks required to enforce the codes of the City of Leitchfield. And this is a second reading, so there need to be a vote tonight.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion and a second for that, and then we'll do a roll call.
I make a motion.
Motion by Clayton.
I second.
Second by Tootie. Roll call, Denny.
Aye.
Gina.
Aye.
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 Thank you, guys. Congratulations, Dalton. You just took on more responsibility. Okay, next up is the second and final reading of ordinance for rezoning request RZ-24-127 for 204 Kane Avenue from R5 to R2. Earlene? Or Tyler?
Tyler's going to read it for me tonight.
An ordinance amending and adopting an amended zoning map entitled Zoning Map Litchfield, Kentucky by changing the district classification of the property located in Litchfield, Kentucky as hereinafter described from R-5 multifamily to R-2 single-family medium density. Whereas the Litchfield Planning Commission of Litchfield, Kentucky on April 8th, 2024 held a public hearing on application number RZ-24-127. The property is currently owned by Crystal Lindsay and is designated as a property having a PVA number 083-06-03-084, being more particularly described in Deed Book 472, page 029, Records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office, being located at 204 Kane Avenue, Litchfield, Kentucky. The request asks for a change from R-5 multifamily to R-2 single-family medium density. And whereas city council members conducted a review of the record and evidence presented before the Litchfield Planning Commission, and its recommendation is that the zoning map amendment be approved as affects this property. Its recommendation is attached and incorporated herein by reference. And now therefore be it ordained by the City of Litchfield, Kentucky as follows: boundaries of the district as shown on district map entitled Zoning Map Litchfield, Kentucky, being same is hereby amended for reasons adopted, all of which is made a part hereof is fully set out herein, including the rezoning request from the Planning Commission dated 4/8/2024 to the Litchfield City Council, so the property is described as follows. Refer to property description PVA number 083-06-03-084, deed book 472, page 029, records of the Grayson County Clerk's Office, and being located at 204 Kane Avenue, Litchfield, Kentucky 42754, now zoned R2 Single Family Medium Density after the adoption of this ordinance.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion in a second for that reading.
I make a motion.
Motion by Clayton. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Terry. All in favor?
Be a roll call.
Okay. Okay, roll call. Aye. Gina?
Aye.
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 All right, thank you. All right. Are you prepared on the next one, Earlene, the first reading of ordinance to close right away at 608 North Broadway?
Yes, and Tyler's here if anybody has any questions on this.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions for Tyler? No? Okay. An ordinance related to the closure of unimproved right-of-ways located at 608 North Broadway Street, Leitchfield, Kentucky. Whereas the city of Litchfield has a duty to maintain certain roads, right-of-ways, and public ways within the boundaries of the city of Litchfield. And whereas a right-of-way can be closed if it is agreed to by all property owners and it is in the best interest of the city. Now therefore be it ordained by the city of Litchfield, Kentucky as follows. Anthony and Mary Alice Meredith are property owners of property located at 608 North Broadway Street, Litchfield, Kentucky, 42754. Said property contains 2 unimproved right-of-ways, Grayson Street, a 60-foot right-of-way, and Willis Lane, a 20-foot right-of-way. The property owners, Anthony and Mary Alice Meredith, are in agreement and wish for said unimproved right-of-ways being closed to the public. Their waiver and consent is attached and marked Attachment A. And Lori does have a copy of that signed waivers by each property owner.
Okay, that's first reading, so we don't have
First
to take any
reading.
action there. Okay, thank you, Earlene. Okay, next up is the Poppy Proclamation. Judge Henderson and I signed that Thursday. For those, do I need to read that, Earlene, or will you read it?
No, you don't have to read a resolution.
Okay.
You skipped this one, didn't you? You skipped one.
Yeah.
Did I?
Resolution to adopt the recommendation.
It's not on my list. I've got an extra, okay.
Slid one in on you.
All right, it wasn't on there, so. We will move up a resolution to adopt the recommendation contained in the Regional Facilities Plan of the Litchfield Utilities Commission dated 4/2/24.
And that will just need a motion, a second, a vote. It doesn't have to be read.
Okay. And what that consists of, I think, is most of all of the meetings we've been in with Lincoln Trail and other entities about grant money and things like that. They are really pushing now for a regionalization of a sewer plant, which would mean if requested from Clarkson and Caneyville, we would basically we'd find a way to serve them and they will build the new sewer plant with the intent.
With monetary help.
Yes, yeah. And there'll be, but like I say, most of your grant money stuff now is tied to a regionalization of that. So, and I'm certain it's for the state and federal government to basically not build a small sewer plant in every little town. So that's basically what that consists of, so.
Which we would be right about in the middle where it would all
Right.
go.
Yeah. I think Clarkson would be a fairly easy connection. Caneyville would be a little more difficult, but.
Right.
But that's what they're wanting to do, is just adopt that regional facilities plan. So I'll entertain a motion for that.
Does utilities have to adopt it too, or do they have to?
They
They're
have,
aware
I
or
think at
whatever.
the last,
Yeah, they'll need to vote on it as well.
So the Utilities Commission is wanting us to adopt this for them.
yes.
So would have been handy if someone from the Utilities Commission would have been here to
Yeah.
explain some of this.
Yeah.
Your recommendation, Mayor?
I think it's something that, honestly, I think it's just a formality for us. I think that, like I say, any monies that we get are going to be tied to, there will be conditional on some of that. So
I'll make the motion for the recommendation.
I'll
Motion.
second.
Second by Terry, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Apologize for that. I've got two copies here, and it was on one of them, wasn't on the other, so. The next item, the Poppy Proclamation, as I said, Kevin and I signed that. And you can read the proclamation here, the actual proclamation, and it's designated as a symbol of sacrifice of lives in the wars, something we do every year. So I'll entertain a motion and a second to accept that.
I make a motion, we accept the Poppy
Okay.
ordinance.
I'll second it.
Second by Tootie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The same day, we signed a proclamation for National Skilled Nursing Care Week. We met with a group from Grayson Manor, I think is where they were from. And it's basically recognizing skilled nursing care in the community. Again, I'll entertain a motion and a second for that.
May 12th through the 18th.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Motion by Billy, have a second. Second by Gina, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, next is our investment policy resolution.
There was just an amendment to add the finance officer. When that resolution was initially made, the city didn't have a finance officer, so it was all delegated to the city clerk treasurer. And since the finance officer is the one that handles the CDs and things, we just added to where there's two people that are the investment authority that does the CDs and stuff. So it'd be the city clerk treasurer and finance officer. That's the only amendment to it.
And while it was being brought up, it had been on the books for some time, so I went ahead and looked through and made sure that our investment policy met all the current requirements for the KRS that falls along with it, and it does, it's in compliance. So this is the only thing that's needed.
And in some instances of that, it has been where the mayor was on that, I think, to do things like that. It makes more sense for those two, because they'll be here a lot longer than most mayors, so. So I'll accept a motion and a second for that and a vote.
I make a motion, we accept it.
Motion by Gina.
I'll second.
By Clayton, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next one up is Public Works Week proclamation. And this is basically designating May 19th through the 24th as National Public Works Week, and just to recognize the work and hard work and sacrifice that our Public Works group makes on our behalf. So I'll entertain a motion if there are no questions.
Wesley, you got some good words about him?
My guys do a great job. I wish I had a few more, and we're making applications. But, for what they have to do, have to put up with, they go above and beyond.
Good deal.
It's just a week that they recognize public works all over the United States. We're gonna try to have a little lunch for them that Friday and just let them know that we do appreciate it.
I make a motion that we accept the Public Works Week proclamation.
I'll second it, and I will say we do appreciate you.
Yes.
Motion by Clayton, second by Gina, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And we do appreciate them. There's a lot that goes on here day in, day out, and some of it's behind the scenes, and they generally take care of it without much fanfare, so it's good to recognize them. Terry even helps them at times, so thank you, Terry. All right, unfinished business. Code enforcement amended ordinance for condemned property.
I'm continuing to work on it. Hopefully by sometime this summer, I'll have an overhaul on that, along with Dalton helping me on that, so.
Okay. Further discussion on programs for subdivision encouragement. I know Denny has worked on that some, and I'll let him speak to that in a moment. One of the things that I had thought of when looking at some of these things, we do need to move on something like this if we're so inclined. What I would like for us to do is, and we kind of had an unwritten rule when I was on the council before, that we would not, if something like this new that we hadn't talked about previously came up, that we would table that till the next meeting to give everyone time to have a discussion and consideration of that. So with that being said, we'll have a budget meeting Wednesday at 3, I think. So we can talk about the specifics of it here, and then we can discuss it with our budget committee Wednesday, if that'll work for everyone. And that's just something, it's more to me of a, I'm not sure what word I need to use, but it's for the benefit of everyone to be able to consider something like that and not be required to make a decision in just a few minutes here. So, but Denny, you want to talk about this? And we've had some other discussion, and I can elaborate some on it too. So.
Yeah, first of all, in the comprehensive plan, one of the biggest areas of needs was housing. And so this is kind of discuss that. I assume we're all in agreement that that's a problem with the city. There's been, I think, one subdivision really in the last 23 years, and Kevin Brooks did that. And he's kind of in a unique situation. I've talked to him about it, and the idea is that for him, as far as the subdivision, he makes his money as far as the building of it, not the house, not the preparing of the subdivision. So I think we need to invest in the city to do this. What people doesn't understand is one thing that really hurts our community is our low per capita income. And if we can get some housing, that will raise the per capita income of our citizens. If that happens, then we're going to have people like restaurants looking at us, supermarkets, other businesses, because the first thing they look at is per capita income, and when they see ours this low, they're not interested. They're going to go someplace else. Other communities are doing this. They're encouraging subdivisions, building in the area, and we can't depend on just one person to build all the subdivisions in there because he's in a unique situation. So I think we need to do something to encourage subdivisions to be built. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm open to suggestions. Hopkinsville has a plan. Some other cities, mainly they do some grants, like if you build in certain areas, that type of stuff. But I think we need to do something to encourage subdivisions to be. We're losing out by not. If we encourage them, we'll get the money back in taxes down the road, and the taxes we get is going to be forever. Pat can probably speak to that as well as anybody. Somebody builds in the city, they're going to pay property tax for 50 or 60 years. So if we invest now, we're out a little bit now, we get it back. But the main thing is we're going to get it on the back end by encouraging other businesses and stuff to come. So I'd like to see us make a substantial investment in doing something like this. So.
And I agree, Denny. I think we look at the property tax that we receive. We'll receive utilities from that whatever that subdivision is, however many houses are in it. We get a long-term investment basically out of short-term investment. Get long-term return for a short-term investment, I guess is a better way to say it. So you guys,
In other communities, does the utilities jump in and help too?
Some, not all. Like, I've talked to
and that's something I think we need to have a conversation with utilities. I think there has been some consideration recently of doing that type thing with line extensions as far as the utilities are concerned. I'm not sure.
That's a big expense of putting in a subdivision.
Yes,
That's your utilities.
I've got to
That
call
and the
into
roads.
Dave to see where we're at on that.
The roads are big.
I hope to talk to him tomorrow morning sometime, but,
They don't break it down whenever.
like I say, there had been some conversation, and there is a KRS to deal with that we went through on the Utilities Commission side, that kind of spells out. One of the things they talked about is a refund over not more than a 10-year period of somebody's investment.
So does the builder go ahead and pass that on to the buyer?
That would be a builder's choice.
Yeah.
So we offer it, but he keeps it and still charges the owner or the buyer
That's
$2,500 hookup,
That's-
$1,200 hookup,
That'd be an individual business choice.
just like us.
Right. But,
Okay, yeah.
but
That's what I'm saying. If we're giving him something and he's getting it back from the consumer, we're going on good faith that they won't, or I am, maybe. That'll be money they save on the sale of the house or the sale of the property. If it's $2,500, I'm pretty simple. If it's $2,500, is he gonna take $2,500 off the property or off the house?
well,
Because we saved him $2,500.
I'm not personally looking at how he does, or she, does the business. I'm looking at what we're gonna get back long-term.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but whether they take the 2,500 and give it to somebody or put it in their pocket, to me is irrelevant about what I'm looking at, long-term.
And I
We're
think,
looking more of investment purposes, and, you know, there's a reason all these subdivisions are within 2 or 3 miles of the city. Obviously, we're not doing something, or they would be within the city, or we could encourage people to do it. When you've looked at all the nice subdivisions, probably during the 23-year period, maybe a dozen, maybe more subdivisions are
So
within
you
2 or 3 miles.
you don't think being land strapped will do that?
Oh, it comes into play, but obviously there's property out here.
And some of that property has not always been available, correct? Things are being sold now as people,
and I think looking at a specific situation that I think we're all aware of, the developer and the builder will be two different
right?
entities. The developer will develop the subdivision, the infrastructure for the subdivision, streets, curbs, lighting, stuff like that. There's another person, another business that'll actually be building the houses and selling them. So whether he would pass that on to that person or it gets passed, I don't know.
Well, we started out with we're gonna save them money, is how we started this out right today.
Yeah,
So are we saving them money?
The developer, yes.
yeah.
But that doesn't
But,
mean
but
that,
that goes from the developer to the buyer.
Either the developer of the subdivision, the developer of the housing part of it, or straight to the buyer. It's hard to say. I don't know if there's a way we could put a provision in there for that. I don't know if there's a legal way to do that. But when we boil it all down, still, we're encouraging
I'm
that
not
development to
against- I'm
take
not
place
against
in
it
the
at all.
city.
I'm just playing the other side of it.
Yeah,
that
and I
nobody
get
else
it.
is playing,
I
so.
just, like you said, I don't know how you would supervise that. Because once you agree with the developer, how he or she spends their money, we
Right.
can't dictate, so you,
And the housing will be
It may-
predicated on market price, basically. I mean, you know, it's going to be, and it may give the contractor that's doing the housing part of it some leeway. Might be a stopgap between them maybe losing money or breaking even to, you know. It's, and I get where you're coming from, Billy. I get both sides of it, so. Like I said, I think it's something that we probably need to have the conversation Wednesday and a little more in depth, just to see if we're willing to commit a number to that and how much we're willing to commit.
Before
And what
Wednesday,
it's for.
Well, on Wednesday, we can, you know, we can decide if we're willing to commit, so this X amount of dollars to that program or
but
whatever.
before Wednesday, you will check with the utilities and see how far they're,
Yes, yes.
what they had talked
Yeah.
about doing,
Yeah,
where they are in that.
yes. I will get in touch with Dave in the morning, hopefully.
'Cause that's
So,
been one of the biggest struggles for
It has.
development,
Yeah.
and, our utilities has really come a long way as far as working with developments, builders.
Yeah.
We need to see if that's in
Yeah.
place yet.
Yeah, okay.
So
And I will-
we've talked about this before, not too long ago. So what happened when they went to utilities meeting? Because he was going there to see if he could get.
The last time that I heard it mentioned, I was under the impression that they were going to be working on it,
Oh.
to put something in place.
I was too.
But where that's gone from then, I'm not sure. It hadn't been brought back up, but I think Dave Vickery would have the most information about that, so that's why I want to get with him, see where that's at, whether it's dead duck or if it's still in progress, so. So I don't, if you want to come to the budget meeting Wednesday, and we can talk specifics then maybe, and
I think we need to do something. I mean, I think we're all in agreement we need to do something, encouragement. We can't make utilities do anything at the end of the day.
Right.
Unless somebody sees something I don't
No.
see as far as, we can ask, but we've asked. I mean, that's all.
yeah,
So if we're waiting for somebody else to do something,
right.
I'm not sure that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, well, I think we can get answers this time. I think, it's time, like you said, that we address it, get the final figures and kind of move on. So that'll be, I will make sure to get hold of Dave. I will actually try and call him tonight. I
So
meant
you
to
need
this
a motion
afternoon.
table?
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion table.
All right, motion by Billy to table this item,
I'll second.
second by Gina. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Next item is further discussion on tax moratorium for property taxes on people buying blighted structures and refurbishing. Denny, I think you've got some info on that.
That's
also.
another one, and I'm going to hand out to everybody. This is the KRS on it, and also other cities have, it's basically parrots the KRS, so it's not anything significant. My KRSs are old. The only thing that's changed is, I think it mentions the revenue cabinet. It's now the Department of Revenue. So that was a change, but we can pass these out. And there's another thing I think we need to look at, maybe next time to discuss.
Okay.
If you have any questions about it, do that. But this gives you an idea of what you're looking at. It would be administered by Tyler. He would be the guy in charge of it, so he would probably need a raise to do this. Or Dalton, yeah. Or it'd be under his department. So it's just something to discuss. This is pretty common among a lot of cities, and it doesn't cost anything. The purpose is to encourage people to rehab and rehabilitate their housing. I think the biggest issue is going to be the percentage of the amount of improvements that you're going to have to the property. I think Louisville, you can look at it, I believe it was like only a 25% increase. So if you've got a property, say $10,000, you would have to put $2,500 in it to be eligible for the moratorium for 5 years. And then is a program you have to go through. You have to, before you rehabilitate the house or building, you have to get permission from Tyler to do that. You've got a couple years to get it completed. You can ask for an extension of time. After you get it completed, then Tyler has to go out and inspect it to make sure it's what you said is done. And then if that's the case, then if your property becomes worth $1,250, you'll be taxed at $10,000. Let's just take $12,500. Your property will be taxed at $10,000 like it was for the next 5 years. So I think it's another situation where it's a win-win. It encourages people to maybe fix up a dilapidated house. I think Hopkinsville had like a 60% requirement. So if you got a $10,000 house, you're going to have to invest additional $6,000. So that's something we can talk about if we're interested in doing it.
Yeah, that's going to be if we're interested in doing it, that's going to be the biggest part of the discussion, is deciding what percentage that we want, that we're comfortable with.
Correct.
So,
I'm sorry, Gene, one more thing. I talked to Arnie Perkins at PVA, and he didn't see this being a problem. he would work with us anyway, and he thought it was a good idea, and he worked with us to see if it could happen.
Okay. Kenny, did you have? Okay.
Having a brain cramp at the moment, but if you're in the city, you pay city and county?
Yes.
So it would not impact the county portion of it, so that needs to be clear when we're
Yeah.
talking about it. Okay.
Yeah.
And it'd only be the city net increase in value for 5 years.
Not the total value, but the
Right,
net
just the
increase.
increase.
Yeah, okay.
You mentioned houses a lot, so you're only focusing on houses?
No, it's commercial and it's buildings.
Properties.
It's buildings, so it wouldn't apply to somebody that wanted maybe to add on to their building or that type of, or a garage or something like that. It's only, the purpose is to rehabilitate, to restore and repair. And that's in the KRS.
You got anything to add to that, Tyler?
It just says in there that the buildings have to be at least 25 years old, so.
That's a good point.
And then, I think, is it commercial or is it both? It's a 2-year completion time from start to finish. I don't know, I guess that's either residential or commercial. There's a 30-day application period. You have to apply 30 days ahead of time before you can start work and get your approval. So,
And there's also additional requirement for commercial.
yeah, there's some other requirements on commercial property versus residential.
That they have to state in their application. But this is all in the KRS, the statute, so.
And this is only for people who are buying the blighted structures and refurbishing? It's not for people who currently own it?
No, it's for people who own it.
It says buying on our agenda.
And it's wrong. It's
Okay.
just people who have it. And I also learned you do not call it a abatement. It's a
Excuse me?
moratorium. It's not a tax abatement.
It's not abatement.
It's a moratorium.
Yeah, we found that out. Denny, you're looking into it. I had called it an abatement. That was my understanding, but as happens very often, my understanding was wrong.
Again, pretty simple. Who qualifies? I mean, if you're in a business right now and you paint the front of your building, but the back of it looks like,
Then if the building's over 25 years of age.
right,
And you want to repair your building, you get up to, then you go down there, go to Tyler, file the application. There's a couple extra things you have to have for a business, commercial building. And then if Tyler gives you the certification, then you can, you can file the application, certification, whatever, and then you have the 2 years to complete it. And again, the business, you have a few more requirements that you have to specify, the equipment and that type of stuff. It's in the KRS.
And if I understand it, Billy, I think painting wouldn't impact. It has to be significant enough that it's gonna impact your assessment. Your assessment, is that right?
Right.
So just painting it, they're not gonna increase your assessment.
And it specifically says in here blighted, so who's going to determine if it's blighted? Would that be Tyler?
Yep. There is a definition, KRS, and it's very broad, so.
it's
an
very
easy-
broad.
Yeah, it's an easy determination based off the definition by KRS.
But again, if they are considering it blighted, the homeowner, and they pay in here $40 application fee, and they're going to do enough, or a significant amount of refurbishment that it's going to increase their property assessment, then I think that's self-definitive.
Yeah, I mean.
Basically,
it's
they're gonna
25
volunteer
years
to
old.
have their property reassessed at a higher
It's-
value, which
They're gonna
Right.
have
a
to
lot of
have
people
You're not going to do.
may not want to
an
do that.
assessed
you know,
value
may
of their
do that.
property
That's
before we can
what
approve.
Is the PVA office automatic though?
They are every
If they
4
see you,
years. But that's where they apply for the application, and we would have to get the applications to them so that they would be aware of who's in the program and who's not. in case it was their year to roll around
So we
for the
would, we would
reassessment.
run through the PVA.
The PVA makes determination of the
Makes
value.
determination.
Right, we don't determine the values.
And Terry, your question about, it states in here if during the process the property sold, you can transfer or assign the certificate to a new owner or leasee of the property.
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, allergies. There is a statement in here that says an assessment or reassessment certificate may be transferred or assigned by the holder of the certificate to a new owner or leasee of the property. So if it's sold during the process, or leased, it can be transferred.
To the new leasee or the new owner.
Right. Which
Yeah.
They own-
encourages people who flip houses to
Yeah.
fix them and pass that savings along.
Okay.
Right.
Exactly.
Tyler, you're out and about in the community, and Wesley, you are too, so I'm going to throw you in here too. Approximately, just rough figure, how many blighted commercial structures do you think off the top of your head we have? Blighted commercial, because I can only think of, and we're not going to name any names, and we're not going to name any locations, but I can only think of maybe 5, and a couple of them are still functioning.
That's probably pretty accurate.
Pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say less than 10, for sure. That really needs a lot of work.
And if they take advantage of it.
Yeah.
But this is for residential too, right? It's for residential as well.
Right, I was just
Okay.
looking at the commercial aspect of it. I'm not going to ask you how many homes you estimate are blighted. However, you know, we have a program in place for those homes.
Not at the moment,
No.
but
We don't have a dilapidated property?
Only if they want to tear it
Just to be
down.
torn down.
Yeah.
that's not in
Disposed of.
effect right now. It's got to be voted back in.
Yeah.
It's not in effect right now. It's expired.
When is your next meeting?
June. So then that's what we discussed, that the code enforcement board will be involved with coming up with the new program. Then we'll present that to the council for you all to decide whether or not to go through with it or to look over it again. So right now, we do not have a demolition program at all.
Good to know.
But our intent is to
The intent is to reinstate, but we're going
reinstate it,
to
yes.
We-
revamp it.
We can't reinstate without you all? We can't reinstate it right now?
You can,
So when,
but
We could reinstate what we had.
What we had before?
What
But we
Tyler's
was gonna
saying is,
change some of it.
yeah, start
yeah,
saying.
yeah, but
Some-
if
some
you'll
of the
remember, we
fees and-
discussed that early March. And I was given the task to approach the code enforcement board to make a rubric somewhat, and what we would charge and different things like that. So we're waiting on our June meeting. So we had already had our meeting for March.
Any other questions before we move on that
I'd just say one more thing. The cost of this would be minimal.
yeah.
I mean, there's no cost. We wouldn't have to budget anything, wouldn't cost taxpayers anything. In fact, it would save taxpayers.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a positive. I can't see if it helps one person, one business. That's one that didn't have before.
To me, it's more of
Gotcha.
a good faith effort of support than actual monetary. Like you said, it's not a big investment for the city, but it's,
You're not losing anything. You're still getting the same tax you were getting
Yeah.
until that time's up, and then that's when you'll get the increase.
Right.
So we're not,
So the only thing we're waiting on is a percentage
yeah, later.
to go through with it.
yeah. So you guys can study this, look through it. If you have any questions, we can sit down and talk about it before the next meeting. And like I say, just be thinking about what percentage you'd be comfortable with. And as was said, I think that even the participation in it would be minimal, but it does show an effort on our part to support people that are improving properties in the city. Okay. Any other discussion on that?
Think got a silent on it?
Next up is something we have discussed in the past, and I was under the impression that we had kind of made a decision on that, but we want to make sure discussion on Planning and Zoning Commission pay increases. And I was thinking the decision we'd made would be take effect with our new budget year, starting in July. Is that your
That was-
understanding, Denny?
That was discussion, but it has to be to change it, would have to be by ordinance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have to have a reading, motion.
You could vote on it tonight, but it'd have to have a first and second reading to be in effect.
How about if you go forward with what we made with the ordinance, and then we'll just vote on that rather than taking the time to vote on it tonight,
Okay.
just to approve the
Okay.
ordinance. So if you would get that ready, then,
I can.
okay. And I'm not 100% certain of the amount. I think I know, but I don't want to say out loud because I don't know for 100% sure. But
Okay.
if anybody else recalls, I think.
Okay, Sabrina has it, so.
In the budget.
Okay.
I think it's 100.
I think so, yeah. Okay, unfinished business. Billy, do you have anything? Terry?
No.
Tootie?
No, sir.
Clayton?
Yes, I just have two items. I've been contacted by several people out in the Cave Mill area and Cave Mill Court, and they're wanting to, they're still having a lot of speeding through Cave Mill and Cave Mill Court area. And they're wanting to bring down the speed limit out there is 25 in the court, and they were wanting to bring it down to 15.
I think we had that discussion before.
We did have that discussion before. And if that's something that needs to be voted on, I will be voting against that because that is my subdivision and it'd be very challenging to drive 15 miles per hour.
I know you've got the speed thing, David, out Sunset Drive area now. It was a few days ago.
I mean, I'll be glad to move the trailer over there and see if that will help some.
Okay, I'm
Give
getting,
that a try and just, do some more extra patrol.
Now, you just specifically talking about Cave Mill Court area or Cave Mill Road also, Clay?
Cave Mill Court.
Okay. Okay.
I would appreciate that.
Okay.
And then one more thing, they've been two or three, of course, when somebody goes on Facebook and we start getting popped, why the dump over there blowing up in Mr. Penner's property over there, and he said he appreciated them coming up and getting it off there, but it does it so many times that was wondering if there wouldn't be some way about the last half hour the guys are there or the inmates might be there, that of an afternoon, Monday through Friday, that would it be a problem with them walking up there and just policing the area?
It's hard to say, because a lot of days they work till quit night. And it just depends. But we could try it and see if we can get something worked out. And usually it's not too bad, it's just when we get windstorms like we had the other day, when you sent that picture out, put it on there, it just, wind had blown, there was no way you could keep up with it. But we'll see what we can do.
Can you put an orange fence in front of his about 4 or 5 foot?
But
That's what I was gonna say, add another fence.
Yeah,
That's what we had talked about, is
That's-
down near the buildings to add a fence, because I've stood out there and watched a lot of it is stuff that kind of bags and stuff just floats, you know, when the wind blows. And,
Walmart bag.
yeah, and,
well, he had some stuff, even some stuff had blown up on his house. I was over there one day, and it blown up on the house in the trees. There were milk cartons, and things like that. And he was talking about, wonder if we couldn't put some kind of fence up away from his fence that would, a net, something that would keep that from blowing up there.
I think Wes and I discussed too, once the garage door that was damaged, where the trucks pull in and out, Wes. Getting that repaired may help some, because a lot of it's blowing out of that tunnel there. It's just basically a wind tunnel. So maybe we can look at going ahead and getting that repaired, see if that helps any.
Yep. Because he, you know, it's not like the whole town of Leitchfield that it's doing it, that it's blowing over on the whole town of Leitchfield, but just got that, and then over there beside them, and the apartments back there, and that's about it. And, you know, if there's any way we can help them over there, we need to do it.
I agree. I think we need to make an extra effort to do that, and.
Be a better neighbor.
Yeah, that's what it all boils down to. If you want a good neighbor, be a better neighbor.
That's right.
And we have talked about putting some fence down there, about a third of the way up from the city's area, up, you know, between it and him. I think that would cure a lot of it, but wouldn't cure all of it, because some of it, like I say, it floats around. It's just it's real light stuff, and I don't blame him for being upset. I mean, I've been over there
Yeah.
when his yard was full of it, not just at the fence. So.
Well, they were sitting there the other night, and they was trying to have a family grill out, and there they came.
Get
And
Walmart bag on your hamburger.
yeah, and they're just, you know, it would agitate me too if it was in my neighborhood.
I agree.
Certainly would, and we need to do something.
Yeah. We can look at that, Wes. I know we haven't budgeted for anything like the fence or something. Maybe something we want to look at. Christina,
We
don't.
probably got fences, it's just haven't put up
Yeah.
with,
Okay. Okay.
I think we've actually still got the fencing from the old swimming pool,
Okay.
so we've got quite a bit, I think, still there.
From what?
The
From,
old swimming pool there behind the middle school.
oh, yeah,
I think it was 8-foot fence.
Yeah.
that would be,
It's just, getting somebody to put up chain link fence.
because even a 4-foot fence is just gonna, you know, pop up.
Now, I don't think 4 foot. I think we'd look at 6 foot probably. That's what I would think anyway, but we can, Scotty and Wes and I can get together on that maybe in the next few days and talk about maybe trying something like that.
And again, he said, thanks for policing that and coming up there and getting it taken care of. He just, you know, it's really been something that's been going on for years there, and nothing's been done.
Yeah. Anything else, Clay?
No, that's all.
Gina? Danny, old business?
I had some person asked to update the status on tearing down the building at on K Mill. Tyler, if you know if there's anything going on.
The house down there,
Yes.
their time frame was up in, I believe it was early March, late February, and I sent them a letter, giving them a notice, and were required by planning and zoning statute to give them 30 days. It's probably within a week or so, but I don't know the exact date. I don't have it with me, but if they don't contact us or do anything within that time frame, then we can take measures to take care of it.
Thanks. That's all.
Sabrina, you have any old business? Earlene?
No.
Wes? David? Any old? Tyler?
No.
All right, we'll move on to new business. Finance Officer Sabrina Whitaker has printed out the following just for information, and we have those in our packet here, a list of our CDs, cash and cash equivalent, and recreation loss for 2023 season. So if you guys, Sabrina, do you have anything to add to that?
Nope, if y'all have any questions on any of those, I'll have my cell phone, I think, so.
I just want to thank Sabrina, because I know she contacted all the banks and did a lot of work on this, and
Thank you for the
Appreciate it.
suggestion, Denny.
We are extremely lucky to have the employees that we have.
Yes.
Because I can testify to the fact that they do have the best interests of the city at heart, not only financially, but in every other category too. So thank you, Sabrina, and help remind me to thank the other girls, Wes, David, all your guys. Let them know that we appreciate what they do. All right, new business, Billy,
No, sir.
Terry,
No.
Judy,
No, sir. No, sir.
Dina, Danny.
I do. Wes, what's the status of those signs? I had somebody ask me again, they want to buy the signs, street signs.
I don't have an update for you. I don't know if we could just sell them outright like that without having to put them on an auction site to be able to.
Even on the auction site, I think
Yeah.
they talk like that at 2 or 3 people. What it is street signs, they just sold them for scrap. And a couple of people had contacted me, said they would be willing to pay a lot more than scrap price for the street signs.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, Wes and I had talked about that a couple weeks ago, so.
and I know one person is really interested in paying a lot for the K Mill Road signs.
They want them replaced, or they just want what was there?
They're the replacement.
They've already been
The old ones.
replaced. It's the scrap, the old signs.
They want those, son.
Yeah.
So Wes, what is the update on getting the street signs replaced that have not been replaced?
Just working on it when we can.
Shop's full of them. If you go over there, she's getting them put together.
And Shai's been working on them whenever she can, and it takes a little while. There's a lot of signs in town.
Mm-hmm.
But she's got a pretty good ways on what we had for this year. We didn't have enough to do the whole town, of course, but we're working on it a section at a time and trying to get the ones that get run over will be top priority. Of course, it seems like that happens about once a week. But, they're working on it.
And if you find out, Wes, as far as, and we can ask the council tonight, as far as I'm concerned, if there's somebody local interested in them, I would rather see them go to those people than see them scrapped, you know.
Yeah.
They're basically a keepsake, you know, to hang on the garage wall or something.
Maybe we could let Pat and them auction them off on Thursday night.
There you go. They just left. Well, they could.
I believe that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That is a great
That is.
idea.
They should have stayed.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Maybe we can contact
Once I
them.
get a list together or a thing, and we can surplus them, I guess, like Sabrina said, and then we can advertise to accept bids locally. I mean, we don't have to put them on the government website. I mean, as long as we advertise and everybody has an opportunity
That's right.
to,
Yeah.
give a price for them.
Okay.
If it's just sealed bids or whatever.
The only thing is, that would be you'd almost sell them all as a group.
Yeah, or.
It'd be hard to
Or you
sell.
have to group so many together, or
Yeah.
10 or something, and
I
not
like
just
the auction
individually,
idea better.
because
Yeah.
there'll be a bunch.
Yeah, the auction
I
idea was.
like the auction idea better.
And
I
since-
think it's a good idea.
And the city may, we may not even have to pay a commission, since, we have control over the roads open.
Should have brought that up.
Leverage.
For them, should.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's something we could ask Pat
Jamie.
and see about. That's a
And
good
where would
idea.
the money go that the winning bidder, where would that money go?
It would just go in sale of property in the public works budget. Just like if they sold a vehicle or anything that they sell, just goes in sale of property, and it's just revenue coming in, but it would go in the general fund.
Yeah.
So it's in your best interest to sell.
As much
Wes.
as we can.
That's all I have.
Okay. Serena, you have any new business? Arlene?
No.
Wes? David?
Yes, I've got one small thing here. I would like for you, Mayor, and the city council to consider allowing us to surplus a cruiser. It's a 2013 Dodge Charger, has 146,000 miles on it. The last four of the VIN is 9977. This car had been used until we got our new ones. Like I say, it's got 146,000 miles on it. It's experiencing some transmission issues. So I would just like to ask if we could sell that on Gov Deals.
Man, you're not a car salesman, are you?
Right out there, didn't he?
What the heck?
Yeah, I got you.
I'll make a motion to sell the surplus.
Second by Clayton, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, there
Thank
you
you.
go, David. Thank you, guys. Tyler, do you have any new business?
No, sir.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go on to other. Review the March 2024 financial statement for approval at the next meeting. Reminder, there will be a fire department committee meeting on May 20th at 5 p.m. And while I am on the fire department wagon there, let me give you a date. At the Crusade for Children.
June the
June
1st.
June the 2nd. It's on Sunday, June the 2nd.
That's when
Got
they're
it
giving
down
away
at
the
the bottom.
money, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starts on Friday night and goes
Yeah.
to Sunday.
June the 2nd from 11 to 2, it says.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So we want to remember that. They'll have be at the intersections June the 1st and part of the day June the 2nd. And then the TV station WBKO will be here June the 2nd. So anybody that wants to come out for that, I'm sure the fire department would appreciate it. It's
Yes.
a good event for a good cause. So, okay, the next chamber luncheon is Tuesday, May 14th at noon. And please let Lori know no later than noon on Friday, May 10th, if you plan to attend. And as I should have read all of this, Crusade for Children, June 2nd at Fire Station from 11 to 2, so.
Did they change the
That was on my
lunches
list,
to
I just
Tuesday?
didn't read it.
Yeah,
Just this one?
they had to reschedule.
Gotcha.
for-
Yeah. So, with that said, if there are no other questions or concerns, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I
Motion
will
by Clay,
second that.
second by Gina, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.